Hi everyone, it's Sintang Mayumi. For today's project, I made school lunch notes for my kids to put in their lunch boxes. This project was quick to make for me because I already have my images colored, and these are just the leftover from cards that I made for our collaboration next week. So stay tuned for that. I used some of the images from my monthly Hero Arts Make card kit, Lawn Fawn Color My World, Simon Says Stamp, Breakfast Buddies, Stamp and Cut add-ons from Hero Arts, and Lawn Fawn Say Cheese stamp set. I colored all these images with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. And these are the colored images that I will be using for today's project. For this peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I used my Zig markers and my Daniel Smith watercolors. I cut my cardstock to 3.5 by 2.5 inches, and this size fits in the baseball card plastic sleeves. That is where my older son is storing his lunch notes from me since kindergarten. We'll see if my youngest son will save his lunch notes too. But both of them have folders so they can store their favorite stickers, letters, or lunch notes. And here are my cut cardstock. I have 14 in total. I also used pattern paper on this project using Abriel, the Everyday Collection 6x6 paper pad. I cut it a little bit smaller than the blue panels. I also used my scraps of Lawn Fawn Litz Polka paper pack, cut the same size like the first pattern papers. For this first lunch notes, I will adhere my rainbow crayons on the side of the pattern paper. I arranged them on my surface and used washi tape to hold them together, so when I flip them over, I just need to add the liquid adhesive and adhere them on the side of the paper. And then I cut the excess paper that are hanging off the edges with my paper trimmer. For the sentiment, I used the sentiment from Lawn Fawn Color My World stamp set. I cut the word you from the sentiment because it doesn't fit on the space. For the second lunch notes, I used peacock feathers to add color on my die-cut stitch circles. And then I will add that on my pattern paper and adhere the glue bottle in the middle of the circle with foam tape so it has a little bit of dimension. And then I will add the sentiment with black ink. For the third one, I die cut stitch ovals, and just like my second lunch notes, I will add some color on the ovals, and the color I'm using is Mermaid Lagoon Distress Oxide ink. I will adhere 3 of the pencils on the oval, and I will also add the sharpener with pencil shavings next to the pencils. For the sentiment, I use paper tree ink, Ink It In stamp set, and I chose the sentiment that says "You're the best." Next lunch notes I use is Wild Honey Distress ink. Add the color on the stitch ovals and adhere it on the paper. For these ones, I can't find sentiments from my stash that will go nice with the images, so I just wrote Peanut Butter Jelly Time. My kids loves that song on YouTube Kids. And then adhere the images with foam tape. For these ones, I use Stormy Sky Distress Oxide ink, and I will adhere 3 of the neon pink highlighters on the colored circles and add the circle to the pattern paper. I can't remember what stamp set I used here, but I did selective inking. I stamp your from different sentiment and awesome from different sentiment as well. Next one is using antique linen distress oxide ink. I think you already know the drill if you watch until this time. It's just the same stuff I did with the other ones. The stamp set I use for sentiment is from Simon Says Stamp, Fingerprint Doodles, and I use the sentiment that says do your best. For the last and final lunch notes, I adhere two of the rulers on the pattern paper. I use foam tape on the other ruler so it has a little bit of dimension and add the sentiment with black ink. I spelled rule on the pattern paper using stamp set from Waffle Flower Sketchy Alpha and use the U word from the Lonfon Color My World stamp set, and I can't leave the letters without color, so I quickly color them with my zig markers. Before we adhere the parent paper on the blue cardstock, I will stamp I love you on the back of the blue cardstock with black ink. And I also added the smiley face next to the word I love you. And the last thing to do is adhere the completed panels to our blue cardstock. I use strong double-sided tape to adhere them, and I thought this way is faster than the liquid adhesive. And our school lunch notes are finished. I made two of each designs because I have two boys and so there's no fighting later. My youngest one is starting kindergarten this year and he is excited to go to school. I'll probably cry on the first day of school, but I know I will have more time to craft and do my house chores when they start school. I hope you liked today's project, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.